So till now what we have covered is what is moment of inertia, how to calculate, what is centroid, how to calculate centroid of various bodies, what are the differences between centroid, center of gravity, center of mass, and we have solved around 4 or 5 problems. I have given you an assignment in which you need to find out the centroid of certain bodies. So just to revise, if you see that if you have an arbitrary shaped body and you have an xy axis, this xy axis is your reference frame, and with this if you have used these relationships, x bar is equal to integral x dA divided by integral dA and y bar is equal to integral y dA divided by integral dA, you can calculate the value of x bar and y bar. So what we have done is we have divided the entire figure into one composite body into several predefined shapes for which the centroid, the value or the magnitude of centroid is already known. We have combined them and we have found out centroid. Now let us start with moment of inertia. In moment of inertia, what happens is you may have different cross sections, and all those cross sections may have the same area. But if they have the same area, that means they will be developing the same stress. So if they are developing the same stress, they will have the same strength coefficient. So you can say that the stresses generated are dependent upon cross-sectional area, and so consequently the strength is also dependent upon the cross-sectional area, but it is not so. Every cross-section, every type of cross-section, every shape and size of cross-section, in spite of having the same area, can give you different strengths. So there comes the picture of moment of inertia. So in moment of inertia, what happens? We will be calculating a value, and that value will give you the magnitude in terms of strength, or will be an important parameter in determining the strength of cross sections dependent upon area. So moment of inertia, again you can say it is the second moment of area, but you can also find area moment of inertia. This what we have in our syllabus is area moment of inertia. You can again find out mass moment of inertia. You can also find out weight moment of inertia. Mass moment of inertia and weight moment of inertia are practically the same, only that it is multiplied by g. So if you say mass moment of inertia we generally do not find out, or we find out for only specific cases where mass plays a very important role in the design of a structure or a mechanical component. As because in most of the components we already know that the mass is negligible, or the self weight of the bodies is considered to be negligible, so we are not more into mass moment of inertia. So this is moment of inertia, and this is area based. So that means it is dependent upon area only. Here you can see that we have located the centroid as x bar and y bar. Now what we do is, let us take this figure again. Now let us define two axes, x-axis and y-y axis. Now this x-axis and y-y axis are the centroidal axis. Centroidal axis means these are the axes passing through the centroid. X-axis is the axis representing the x-axis, and y-y is the axis representing the y-axis. And this x-axis and y-y axis, the intersection point is the value of x bar and y bar, which will define the centroid of the body. So I-axis means I is denoted as, is the symbol for moment of inertia. I-axis means moment of inertia about x-axis axis. So if you are taking x-axis axis, that means the distances will be calculated with respect to the x-axis axis. So moment of inertia about x-axis axis means when you are considering the distances about x-axis axis, the distances will be measured in terms of y. So I-axis is equal to integral y square dA. Why y square dA? Moment of inertia or second moment of area is the second moment. It is the second moment. So this was the first moment, integral x dA. The second moment is integral y square dA about x-axis axis. Similarly, I-y-y, or the moment of inertia about y-y axis or the vertical axis, then the distances will be in the form of x. So I y is equal to integral x square dA. Now let us again also define Izz. So Izz is the moment of inertia about the zz axis. Let the distances be in the form of r. So Izz is integral r square dA. Now we have two very important theorems which will be used to calculate the value of second moment of area or area moment of inertia. One is perpendicular axis theorem. So perpendicular axis theorem states that the sum of second moment of area about x-axis and y-y axis is equal to the moment of inertia about z-z axis. So Izz is equal, means it says that, so if you look at Izz can be represented as r square dA. Now r theta is polar coordinates. Changing it into Cartesian coordinates, r square can be represented as x square plus y square into dA. If you open the integrals, it becomes x square dA plus y square dA. Now x square dA is Iyy, y square dA is Ixx. So it can be proved that Ixx is equal to the sum of moment of inertia about xx and yy axis. So now let us see the other theorem. I had told you that there are two theorems which govern or which make the calculation or make the determination of second moment of area or moment of inertia simpler. One was perpendicular axis theorem that we have already seen the derivation. Now let us see the parallel axis theorem. Now parallel axis theorem states that the moment of inertia about any third reference, because moment of inertia, as we know, that it has to be found out with reference to the centroidal axis only. If you want to shift the plane of reference from the centroidal axis to some other location, we require this parallel axis theorem. Now parallel axis theorem states that the moment of inertia of a body about a reference that can be said as I base here is given by the moment of inertia about the centroidal axis plus A is the area into h square, where h is the distance of the shift from the centroidal axis to the selected reference frame, where h is the distance of the selected reference frame from the centroidal axis. So it is now until now it is very clear that the unit of centroidal, the unit of moment of inertia will be meter to the power 4 or mm to the power 4, anything, means as because it is integral y square dA. So y is the distance in either meter or mm, and area is again meter square. So the unit of moment of inertia, area moment of inertia, is mm to the power 4 or meter to the power 4. So coming back to parallel axis theorem, let us say that this is an arbitrary shaped body. This is your y axis, this is your x axis. So we have taken an elemental area of magnitude, let us say dA, which is located at a distance y from the x axis. So Ixx is given by integral y square dA. Now let us take a reference frame which is at a distance of h from the centroidal axis or from the xx axis. So if you have chosen a reference frame, let us say this is base, then which is at a distance of h from the centroidal axis or xx axis, then I base is given by integral of y plus h, because the element is at a distance of y plus h now. So it is integral within brackets it is y plus h whole square into dA. So if you open the bracket, it becomes y square dA plus h square dA plus 2hy dA. Now y square dA is Ixx, y square dA is Ixx, h square dA, h is a constant, so it is removed outside, and integral dA is left, integral dA is ah square. H is a constant here. Now come to 2hy dA. Now 2 is a constant, h is a constant, we have taken it out. So what is left is integral y dA. Now integral y dA is 0. Y, now let us see, y integral dA is 0. So if you look at integral dA, now integral y dA, why it is 0, you are finding out, this is your x axis, you are finding the first moment of this area dA, which is located at a distance y. So this is positive x, this is negative x, this is again negative x, this is positive x. So if you integrate about this entire area once, you will be getting the sum as 0, because here it will be y dA, here it will be minus y dA, here it will be minus y dA. For this segment it will be minus y dA, for this segment it will be minus y dA, for this segment it will be plus dA, y dA, for this segment it will be plus y dA. So if you add all of them, you get 0. Then if you add here, this is y square. So if y is positive or negative, in all the cases you will be getting a positive value only. So this is why y square dA does not come out to be 0, whereas integral y dA about the centroidal axis means you are calculating integral y dA about the centroidal axis. If this is calculated about some other axis, it won't be 0. If this is calculated about the centroidal axis, this is 0. So you get this value as 0, you are left with ixx plus ah square. Similarly, if you calculate I about this axis, yy, the base along the y direction. So you have Iyy plus ah square, you will be getting the same relationship where h is the distance from the centroidal axis. Now let us see, or we can derive the second moment of area of some standard entities, like we had derived the centroid of, or the location of centroid of some standard entities. So likewise we will be deriving the second moment of area of some standard entities. So first let us take a rectangle which is having a dimensions b and d, and there we had to choose a reference from where distances had to be taken. Here the reference is predefined. That means the centroidal axis has already been located with the help of the concept of centroid. So this is your x-axis and y-y axis. This has been located. So from the x-axis axis, let us take an element at a distance y having a thickness dy. So ixx is given by integral y square dA. So dA now is equal to b into dy, the elemental area of the elemental strip. So this is b into dy. So ixx becomes equal to integral y square, put down the values, and the element exists from minus d by 2 to plus d by 2. In the case of centroid, it was 0 to d because this was your reference. Here your reference is always your centroidal axis. So the element extends from minus d by 2 to plus d by 2. If you integrate it, you have ixx is equal to bd cube by 12. Similarly, let us take a rectangular box with having the same dimensions. Now let us find out Iyy. So Iyy is given by integral x square dA. So if this is your yy axis, let us take an element of thickness dx located at a distance x from the yy axis. So the elemental area dA is d into dx. So Iyy becomes integral minus b by 2. The element starts from minus b by 2 and finishes at plus b by 2. So it starts from minus b by 2 to plus b by 2, x square d into dx. You find out Iyy is equal to db cube by 12. Now these are the standards. These are standard values that you need to derive, you need to understand how to do it, and you need to remember also. Now for sake of simplicity and to make you understand what is parallel axis theorem, let us find out the second moment of area of this rectangle with respect to this base. So I base is given by parallel axis theorem. You can state I base is equal to Ixx plus ah square. So I base is equal to Ixx is given by bd cube by 12. You know the value of second moment of area from here, derived as bd cube by 12. Area of this portion is b into d, and the amount of shift that is required or that has taken place. This bd cube was with respect to this x-axis. Now you want this to be found out with respect to this axis. The distance between the two axes, your reference axis and your centroidal axis, is d by 2. So if you put down those values and you calculate, you have I base is equal to bd cube by 3. So
Likewise, this you need not remember. This is done for just to explain the application of parallel axis theorem. And this I have this values Ixx and Iyy. This you need to remember for your future references. So now let us find out the second moment of area of a triangular body of a right angle triangle. So this is a right angle triangle. We have dimensions b and h. From the base, let us take a distance at a distance y. Let us take an element having a thickness dy. So the instantaneous area is b dash dy. I is given by integral y square dA. Now we need to calculate the value of b dash by b by similar triangles. B dash by b is equal to h minus y by h. So b dash becomes equal to b into h minus y by h. If you put down these values, I is equal to y square into b h minus y by h into dy, and the limits of integration are 0 to h, you get dh cube by 12. Now the thing worth noting here is, this I that you have got is with reference to the base. This is not with reference to the centroidal axis. We have derived this just to make our problem easier. The application of similar triangles, the application of distances would have become easier, would have become difficult if you would have taken this distance y from the centroidal axis. What we have done is, we have taken this distance from the base. So what this you have calculated is actually I base. So I base is bh cube by 12. So second moment of area about this surface is bh cube by 12. Now we need to find out Ixx, that means the second moment of area with respect to this axis. So with respect to this axis, it is located at a distance h by 3 from the base, because this we have already derived. So if you put down these values here and use parallel axis theorem, we are using parallel axis theorem in this portion. Ixx you need to know, I base you have already calculated plus ah square. So we have put down the values bh cube by 12 plus area of a triangle is half base into altitude, half b into h, and h by 3 is the amount of transpose or amount of lateral shift required to shift from base to the centroidal axis. So this is h by 3. If you put down these values, you have Ixx is equal to bh cube by 36. Similarly, if you do, you can find out Iyy is equal to hb cube by 36. If the distances would have been taken like this, and where this distance is x having an elemental thickness dx, and if you integrate it in, under the same lines, you will be getting Iyy is equal to hb cube by 36. So what we have seen till now is second moment of area moment of inertia for a rectangular and triangular section. Now here let us find out the second moment of area for a circular section. So for a circular section, what we have done, we have taken a circular section, we have taken an elemental strip at a length, at a distance r from the center of the circle, having a thickness dr. So if the representation is in the form of r and theta, then it is your zz axis. So Izz becomes equal to integral r square dA. So where r is the distance from distance of the elemental strip from the centroidal axis, and dr is the thickness of the elemental strip. So this is r square dA. Now dA elemental area is given by 2 pi r dr. If you look at this strip, if you open it, the length of the strip is 2 pi r and the thickness of the strip is dr. So the area is 2 pi r into dr. Now Izz, if you find out the value of Izz, let us integrate it from 0 to r, where r is the radius of the circle. This is r square, put down the values, we get pi r to the power 4 by 2. Now by perpendicular axis theorem, we have already seen that Izz is equal to Ixx plus Iyy. So for a circular section, you can see that it has number of axes of symmetry. The centroid lies exactly at the center of the circle, and it is symmetrical across all planes. So we can say that Ixx, the value of Ixx and Iyy will be equal. That means Izz will be divided into two equal parts in the form of Ixx and Iyy having values pi r to the power 4 by 4, where r is the radius of the circle. Now let us come to our fourth entity, the semicircle. In the case of a semicircle, you can see that half of the circle is gone, and if you take this as your reference axis, this and this as your reference axis, then you will be getting exactly half the values of what you got in the case of a circular section. So if you find out the second moment of area about the y axis, so if you find it about the y axis, it will be half of this circular section values. So it is pi r to the power 4 by 8. We have divided this by 2 and you get this value. Iyy is equal to pi r to the power 4 by 8. Now, if you find out second moment of area about this base of the semicircle, this I base for a semicircle will also be the same, because half of it is existent, half of it is non-existent. You are removing the other half of the problem. So it will be pi r to the power 4 by 8 only about this section. Now we need to find it about the x-axis axis. X-axis axis does not lie on this frame, it lies somewhere above it at a distance of 4r by 3 pi. This value 4r by 3 pi we have derived in our previous lectures. So I base is equal to Ixx plus Ah square. If you put down the values, Ixx is equal to I base minus Ah square. We need to find out Ixx, because this we have already found out, and this we need to put down the values. So Ixx is equal to pi r to the power 4 by 8. This is I base minus Ah square. A is pi r square by 2. This is the area of the semicircle multiplied by the amount of transfer. The amount of transfer is 4r by 3 pi and whole square. If you put down all these values, the value of Ixx comes out to be 0.11 r to the power 4, and Iyy is pi r to the power 4 by 8. Like we have seen in the case of problems of centroid, we need to remember how these values have been derived. If the semicircle would have been placed like this, then the value of Ixx and Iyy will change amongst themselves. So you need to remember the way in which the derivation has taken place, the dimensions in which they have been placed, and the values corresponding to Ixx and Iyy, how they have been derived, how they have been used, and we need to also understand the applications of parallel axis theorem and perpendicular axis theorem. So in the next segment, we will be seeing how to solve problems in second moment of area or moment of inertia.